Hey,
Yo.
Yeah.
we're back.
Yeah.
Yo, Jacques,
Like it just
Jacques
comes. It's just natural.
Yeah, it's
It
natural.
is.
I can't help it. Like when you have a mic like this, like you just have to. Like otherwise, I mean, maybe I'll hold it like this. Maybe this will stop it.
You could hold it
This'll
really
be-
low, like Bob Barker. His was that really
Yeah,
skinny, tall
yeah,
one,
yeah.
but you could do that.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
hold it. I'll hold
Yeah.
it proper like this, and that way, I don't get encouraged to be like, yeah. So I'm alone in my room. Sometimes I stare at the wall. Like, so I'll just hold it. I'll just hold it here to stop myself from
Oh
losing it.
man.
He holds the mic like that, and instantly his inner dialogue says, "Turn me up in the headphones. Turn me up."
Yeah, 100%. My check 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me in the back? In the back. Okay.
Oh man, we're back,
Hilarious.
y'all.
Good to see you
Yeah,
guys.
welcome back to the
Ish.
Cars and Kicks podcast. We're back ish. This is really just gonna be a catch up episode because we've all had a lot going on, and we've got a lot actually coming for the podcast as well.
Yes.
So we wanted to just get back into your feed. We're popping back in your RSS. We're spinning the block in your RSS feed. That's all it is.
That's
you know
it.
What I'm saying? So we want
Just
y'all,
climbing back up that we got the algorithmic rhythm going, whatever you want to say. We could come up with a lot of dad puns, I guess. But
we're
here.
back.
Yes.
For those that don't know, if this is your first time watching the Cars and Kicks podcast, I am Jacques Slade. I am 1/3 of the coolest Cars and Kicks crew that you've ever seen. I talk about mostly sneakers on this show, and I ask really simple questions about cars that they answer for me, even though I should probably know it by now since we've been doing this podcast for so long, but I still don't know a lot of stuff that I probably should know. But you know what? We're not talking about my trauma right now. I'm going to toss this over to Nick so he can intro himself.
My name's Nick Engvall. I'm kind of the guy that dances in both of these fields, let's say. Been into cars for a really long time, been into sneakers for even longer, and really I just kind of keep these guys on track because they have a tendency to go off track a little bit. Not in the real world, thankfully. They're both very great drivers. If you want, you can go back and listen to some of the old episodes. But Eric, what's good, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. Obviously we've been away for quite a while. I don't think I've shaved since the last time we did one of these podcasts, so disregard this. I don't know. I don't even know what that I was telling before we got on the mic. I look like I just came off the dirt track. Got my ass caught. This old dirt track hat, this beard going. I just want to talk about it. I just ran that A-main. Came up turn forward, leaning up. I don't even know what I'm doing here, but either way, I'm welcoming myself back in an awkward way because we are rusty and we haven't done this in a while. But it's good. It's good to finally be back doing something. We have, for those of y'all listening, Jacques and I have been talking off air, so to speak. Life has been lifing. Some of it good, some of it not so good, but that's just how it goes. And so we our timeline got pushed back a bit, but we like Jacques said, we wanted to pop back into that RSS and let y'all know we're still here. We do have a lot of cool stuff coming. This isn't going to be a full episode, but we're just going to kind of catch you up on what we've been doing, maybe some of the highlights of stuff we've got coming up individually, and then some of the guests that we are starting to line up for the podcast. So yeah, it's we're back at it, just like we never left, like riding a bicycle.
Exactly.
Like riding a bicycle.
So
let's do a bit of an icebreaker back, like an icebreaker to get us back. This is called the Cars and Kicks podcast. Your space, your personal space.
Yes.
What do you prefer, cars or kicks?
Oh man, I guess I'll chime in first because I started to already. I would say my priority is definitely cars. I mean, I got some kicks. Although lately my kick purchases have been, like the Vomeros and the P6000s because I'm getting old and I just want comfortable stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely more, I guess, heavily addicted to cars than sneakers. Nick is addicted to both. That's the problem. Jacques, you're definitely more a sneaker guy, I would say. But Nick, what you got a problem in both worlds?
Yeah, I'm definitely a hoarder. Like if anybody is a producer for the show, like if they want to come see the problem that I've carried with me for the last 30 years. But I think one like that question is just like one of the most difficult questions to ask because when I'm in the zone in the garage and working on things and I'm like, damn, I need to move those sneakers. Or if I'm in a storage unit full of sneakers and I'm like, damn, I just need to get back to the garage to work on the cars. Like I don't know. Like that's why we have to have this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So question for you guys. Like project cars. Like I always see, like, I don't know if it's just like a meme or it's or like a trope, is that guys that work on cars never finish working on those cars. Like you see it all the time about people that start working on a car, or it's like in a movie or a TV show, and the guy walks into the garage and he's like, "Oh, my Mustang Shelby, I'm gonna get her back together." And then like the wife comes in and is like, "Yeah, you're supposed to get her back together 10 years ago." Like what is it about fixing cars that one takes so long, and why don't people finish?
Man, well, I'm going to let Nick take this one first and foremost because he's got about 5 of those not quite finished projects sitting around at this point. Nick, what you spearhead this conversation?
Okay, so part of it is sneaker addictions.
Okay.
Like I use one to be the excuse for not doing the other, right? Like my sneakers would be way better organized if I didn't have car projects, and my car projects would all be done if I didn't collect sneakers or like
Got
obsess
you.
over them. No, really, like for me, it's like I like my teenage years through my early 20s, like I built stereo systems, did electronics, car alarms, remote starts, all that crazy stuff. And I think like it's a perfection thing for me. Like I have so many parts that are that I've chased for years that are like one day I'm going to get them on the car, but I always end up prioritizing either doing something on the car I'm driving right now or doing something on somebody else's car. So like back when I was like doing that for a profession, it was always like the running joke of like you could tell the real like car audio installers because they had the cars that were completely incomplete and they just threw something in that slapped but was never really complete. So like that's kind of the where I am in it. And like I really do that. Like I'll have like my brother was up here, needed to change some belts on his car recently. We swapped wheels on his car a few months back. Like that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, my weekend turns into doing something for somebody else or whatever, just because I love doing the stuff. And like physically just kind of like, I don't know, like bloody knuckles is kind of like cool. Like I feel accomplished because I bang my knuckles around on an engine bay, or something. So I think that it's I think that it's really just a perfectionism thing where like I really have like a very high standard for my own cars. And then like I know that I let that go. So I like put it off and put it off and put it off. The other part of that is like the hoarder aspect of it for me is like it is so difficult for me to see a potentially great car, which Eric can probably agree. Like I can literally look at any vehicle on the road and be like, I could do something with that. Even cars that you should not even think that about.
100%.
I think that about. So like I have that kind of picture of where it should go in my mind. And then the progress to get there starts with like accumulating things rather than just doing the one thing at a time to get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's some truth in a lot of that. Jacques?
Like, so when I think about you guys, you two, like it's almost like you guys are two different car guys. Like I feel like Nick is more of a tinkerer than you are. Eric, you're more like a let's get on the track guy. I feel like you're more like the speed, like the speed of cars seems more enticing to you. To me, I mean, from my perspective, it seems like the speed of cars and like that on track experience and driving and like maximizing every like horsepower out of that car seems more in your world. Whereas Nick feels like, I'm going to build something crazy today. Kind of like he has more of like the tinkerer spirit in him. Is that accurate, or am I wrong about that?
It's about 30% accurate. Okay, and let me explain why. So back in the day, I was very much like Nick. I started off in high school building audio systems for my, all my homies in my garage and everything like that. And
is this like is audio systems like a gateway drug to be in the car?
Totally. Okay, hold on, Eric. Let me throw a little tidbit in here. I think I said this on the show before, but I bought my first car, an 81 Honda Prelude. I was 13 years old. I had 2 Serwin Vega 10s when I was 12 years old. Like the first money that I earned, I went and bought subwoofers and a box. I didn't even have a car. Wow. I just knew that it was gonna happen. They were on sale at Best Buy. It was an open box, and I was like, I have to have those. And that is like the most gateway drug ever. Because you know what you do when you're like 12, 13, 14 years old? you plug that into your little boombox and you've got subwoofers
Yep.
in your room,
Yep.
which means like you've completely, throughout the time space continuum by connecting in-home audio and car audio. But like it is absolutely addictive in so many ways, which I'll sorry, I
No,
had a rant there, but that is like 100% what
You're good. I
gets
was
you
trying
into
to
it.
find it. I don't have them handy. I was trying to find pictures as you were saying that. I found a stash of old, literally Polaroids.
Oh,
That's
nice.
how
Yeah,
dated I am. Of like, I put 412s in my buddy Claude's '85 Camaro back in high school. Yeah. Why you need it? I'll find that picture. Don't worry. It's here somewhere. But to your point, Nick, like I remember buying subwoofers before I had a car and putting them in my room just so I was prepped and ready for when I got my license that I could start doing that. So that was the gateway drug. And back to your question, Jacques, I used to be a massive tinkerer. I still am. I just don't show it as much, and I'm such a perfectionist that most of the time when you see me out, doing something, it's because I've been working on something for a long time. Now, mind you, getting busier, getting older, becoming a dad, all that other stuff has taken priority. So that's where that 30% thing comes into play. I don't take on projects as much as I used to. I used to, my 91 Toyota pickup truck in high school, I bought bone stock. It was, like a silverish blue with blue vinyl bench seat, no power steering, crank windows, all that other stuff. By the time I was done with it, it had bucket seats out of a CRX. It had a custom center console that I built. The whole interior was purple tweed with orange piping. The exterior was painted bright tangerine. It was lowered and it was. Look up tweed interior. It was a thing in the mini trucking world.
It's the thing.
It's coming back. By the way, all this stuff's coming back. But all that's to say, I used to do a lot more tinkering than I do. I feel like my son is getting to the age where he loves cars. For those that have been listening, my son's name is Enzo, first and foremost. And it tells you what kind of car guy I am. But he was born with this obsession. And so he'll be 7 in a couple months. So he's starting to get to the point where when I am working on something in the garage, he comes out there and he wants to know about it. And I'll tell him, hey, go grab that 10 millimeter, go grab this. And so he's starting to help me. So I feel like a father-son project car is in the not too distant future. And I
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So father-son car. I'll ask you guys, since you guys are more the car guys here, obviously, than me. What's like the ultimate father-son car project? Like, what is that in your minds to you? Like, what's the ultimate father-son car project?
Oh man,
we'll start with you, Eric, since you obviously have a kid.
Sure.
Nick has a dog, which I don't know if that counts for like helping you with a car.
She doesn't. She still hasn't grown thumbs. Like she can't help with anything.
So what's how does that play out for you, like that father-son car project in your mind? I know, like as a dad, I feel like you already have like this whole process kind of played out in your head. What does that look like for you?
So I think it's a generational thing. I think when we were growing up, a lot of, my dad wasn't a big car guy per se, but a lot of his friends were. And like my father-in-law is a huge car guy, and the stuff that he was attracted to is old muscle cars. That's just that era of growing up that, our parents' age, that's what they grew up with. That was the cool thing, is the muscle cars and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that loves anything and everything. I've owned 60 some odd vehicles, and they run the gamut from old hot rods to sports cars to mini trucks to whatever it is. But to answer your question, I think with the generation that we grew up in and kind of what my son has been exposed to, and he's been exposed to a lot just because I got a lot of car friends, etc. He is heavy into the JDM world. Like when he goes and gets his Hot Wheels, he loves his, RX-7s and his Skyline GTRs and things like that. And I think that if he had his choice, we would end up picking up probably either an R32 or R33 GTR and making that our project car. Now, what he doesn't realize is those are not cheap project cars. Just to get something that is, halfway decent shape, you're talking 30, 40K at least. And, then you got part of the fun is sourcing parts from Japan and things like that and building it. But, mom also wants to put a pool in the backyard and other things. So I don't know that the project Skyline GTR is happening right now, but I think that will be, not in the too distant future. I will say, going back to like my OCD-ness and my preparedness and stuff like that over the break since we last did the podcast, like I'm getting my garage ready. There's no project car in it right now, but my garage, I redid the garage floors. I did something that I wanted to do since I was a kid, and I put a 4-post lift in my garage. So I've got a 3-car garage, and in the third bay, there's now a 4-post lift, and the 72 Chevelle sits on top, and there's a big empty space below it. So I got room for another car. But all that's to say, it is prepped and ready for whatever project comes next. I just need to make more money is what it comes down to.
You and me both, man. You and me both. I think the father-son thing is really interesting, though, because my dad has always been into cars, but never like in the garage kind of into cars. Didn't do a ton of work. Did when he was younger, but like, when I came around, didn't really have the money to do that. My stepdad, I remember vividly, like being out there with my mom and my stepdad in the garage standing. He had a 48 Willys sedan delivery with like it was an previous ambulance. So it had the fold open doors on the back. That was not a normal thing for those old trucks.
Yeah.
But like it was again, like a project for him. Like it had a 327 in it. Or no, sorry, a 427 in it.
Whoa.
Yeah, and never got it on the road, and like, ended up, my siblings came along and ruined my independent solo child dreams. But no, it was just one of those things where, like, I think probably for Eric, it's not even really about like the end goal of that car. It's just the time that you're going to get to spend, taking it along the way, the journey of learning all the stuff, which I think is, like it's just a cool bonding experience that you don't really get in too many other aspects of the world, right? Because if you think of like the way sports work, yes, like there's a huge, bonding element to sports, but like it's always driven by that competition. It's really hard to, you can't play baseball or football or whatever and not get sucked into the competition if you really enjoy the sport. So cars is kind of this unique space where, it really can be kind of any level of commitment or, professionalism or fun or, I would not be surprised as I'm saying that to see Enzo, driving competitively in the next 4 or 5 years either. So,
trust me, we're one moment of convincing mom away from that happening. That's the only thing standing in the way. I'm behind it.
Come on, Mom.
My father-in-law is behind it. Enzo wants to do it 100%. He got a little electric go-kart for his 6th birthday last year. And the next step would be a proper racing cart, a cadet cart. And I just showed him a video the other day. Some really close friends of ours, I don't know if y'all are listening, but shout out to Chris Wareheim and Tilly, his wife, and their son Nico. Nico is 3 months older than Enzo, so we've known him his whole life. And Tilly and Candace were pregnant at the same time, all that other stuff. Chris has made a career out of driving. He's an incredible race car driver, raced professionally on various levels in Europe, here in the States, all over the place. He does coaches the next generation, so to speak. Like I think he's in Spain or Italy right now at a kart race coaching some young kids. They're in their early teens or younger, and that's just what he does. He's great at it. So their son Nico, who just turned 7, got his first cadet kart and turned his first laps on a proper track about a week ago. It was such a cool moment that they shared on social media and everything. And I'm like showing Candace and showing Enzo both, and Enzo's like, yes, and Candace is like, I don't know, not yet. So I don't know, man. I think it'll happen. It's inevitable, but we gotta make mom okay with it first.
So for those that are listening that don't know what a cadet cart is, like how is that different from like a go kart? Just for people listening, because some people are listening and they don't know the difference between those two. So if you could just like let them know. Yeah,
Jacques, why don't you go ahead and tell the people?
It's so a cadet. Oh,
he's got a mic. He's got a mic issue. Is that what's going on?
Yeah,
his mic's not working.
Can y'all?
So, okay, I'll tell him. I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is why you got to watch the pod, because right now Jacques is miming everything, not pretending that his mic is not working. It's just literal technical difficulties. So a cadet cart, for those of y'all that don't know, is basically it's a kid cart. It's a smaller sized go-kart. Now, mind you, they are still plenty quick. I don't know what the specs are nowadays, but they're running, I don't know, they probably make somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15, 20 horsepower. So you've got, little 7-year-olds out there ripping around at like 50 miles an hour in some cases. It's no joke. 50 in a go-kart is insane. Like, the fun ones that we all go do at like K2 and, places like that, you're lucky to see 25, 27 miles an hour, here and there. And it still feels fun. So imagine double that, but now you're 7 years old and you're out there with a bunch of other 7-year-olds. So cadet karts they're proper racing machines, just scaled down for kids, basically.
Now I want a cadet kart. I want to race.
Man,
but I was doing something at KBB, but apparently not.
One thing we need to all do at some point is go out. I don't even know if they're still running. They might be, but I used to work at the Bondurant School. We've talked about that a bit in the past on the pod. Out in Arizona, I was a shifter kart instructor out there. And I don't know if that school's still running or not. I need to reach out, and I doubt many of the people that I worked with are still there. They've gone on to, have illustrious racing careers, et cetera. But you need to, and Nick, I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but y'all need to experience a shifter kart at some point in your life. It is mind-blowing how ridiculously quick and well handling those things are. And there's a reason why, people like Fernando Alonso, when he's got an off weekend during race season, is at the track in a shifter kart. There's some sort of, even if it's not a shifter, just a 125cc, pro kart of sorts, because karts are the best training tool for motorsports, period. It would blow your mind. So at some point we need to make that happen. If anybody out there's listening,
I'm down.
It's at Bondurant or somewhere that has access to. I know out here in Dallas, we got a really good facility with some cool karts. If y'all come out here and visit me, then we'll get you out there, and it'll blow your mind.
Love that. We should probably say, shoe, because this is the Cards and Kicks podcast. There's a shoe in this box. But yeah, just giving you guys just a little taste of what we've got coming. Obviously, talking a lot about cars, talking a lot about kicks, but we also have some special guests coming on. I know we have a race car driver coming on. We have couple of sneaker designers coming on the show as well. We have some people from the car space as well that are doing some things in the car space. So we have the new season is going to be a lot more interviews with people that are in the space, in addition to me talking about my dreams of rebuilding the Infinity that I have outside. Because I know that's really compelling
That's
content.
your project car.
That we all want. That's my project car for that really compelling podcast content, rebuilding an Infinity from 2007. Don't hate people.
Hey, there's probably a lot of people that would love to do that.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I saw like a Sentra from like the 90s out on the road. And like that was one of the first cars that I had. And I was like, man, that would be really cool to like bring that Sentra, get a Sentra and bring
the old
it back.
SERs, man.
Yeah,
man. I was like, dang, this might be am I having a Nick and Eric moment right now?
The influence is real, man.
So that's like in the back of the head, just kind of running around back there.
Trina's listening to this, like, no. Not a chance. You are not putting that anywhere near.
Jacques will be like, well, but Eric, he put one of these lifts in his garage. Why can't we do that in ours? Then, we still, it doesn't take away from the space, and they don't have room for it. Yeah.
Dude, I was literally about to ask you, like, wait, how high does your garage ceiling need to be to get one of those things?
Ours is 10 feet, so you need at least 10 feet, really. Anything bigger is better, but yeah. You got room? You got room?
Good to know. I don't know. Okay. I think my ceilings are only like 10. I think they're barely 10 feet. They're barely 10 feet. And we have like a freaking crossbar right in the middle, which really messes everything up. Anyway, my dreams of having a project. I'll just put it in the driveway and just throw like a tarp over it. You know what I'm saying? Like just put it in the driveway and throw a tarp over it.
You are becoming a true car guy right now, Jacques. This is your moment. That is true car guy speak right there.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Now, we do have some really great guests. Sorry. It cut out.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Eric.
My bad. No, I was just going to say, to piggyback on what you said with the guests coming up, I'm going to name drop a few. Just, we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves and everything, but some of the people that we've talked to that are definitely coming up. We don't know exact dates yet, but, we've got Eric Kendricks is a huge car guy, one of the best linebackers in the NFL. He's coming on at some point. Samantha Tan, who you mentioned, female race car driver, super talented. Her story is incredible. She's coming on. Aaron Cooper, sneaker, god, basically. He's talked about coming on. Santino Ferrucci, IndyCar driver, he's coming. I mean, the list is long here, and one of my favorite guests that I can't wait to have on is Michael Rapetti, who he's the founder and owner of the Motoring Club, and they literally just had an event doing the two things that we are talking about. They had a Nike Air Max DN8 event at the Motoring Club in LA. So he's going to be a great person to have on because he's as obsessed with both worlds as we are. So a lot of really great, guests lined up, a lot of other content that we're working on as well. But like we said at the top of this, we just wanted to come on and let y'all know we're still here. We're still kicking. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
All right, let them know where they can find us, Nick, and then let's get out of here so I can start building out my center downstairs.
We'll just keep it simple. carsxkicks.com. You can find links to everything you need to find is right there. carsxkicks.com.
There you go.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Peace.